Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Boost! Peekaboo. I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available summer 2023, the album, Dad, Shimmy Shimmy, AF, Rock on Gold Dust, Boost, Woman. Happy Saturday. How are you guys doing today? You have no idea how happy I am that I made it through that intro. When I caught that fan, I was like, whoo! Thank God there is a Jesus, okay? She's not a Christian! Ouija boards, gargles! I was so happy I caught that fan because I've had to do this intro like 4 times because every time I throw the fan back too far and then it's like back here hitting the door and I don't catch it. And when I caught that fan that time, inside my head, I was like, oh my God, there is a Jesus. I'm so happy I caught that fan. But anyway, how are you guys doing today? Welcome back to my front porch. The place of videos for this summer. I am loving filming videos out here. I'm having so much fun just drinking my iced coffee and having little conversations with you guys about all the stuff that's going on the internet. Today I have several things that I want to talk about, and I have some notes in my phone written down so that I stay on task. It's important that I stay on task because if you've watched many of my videos, you know that I don't stay on task, okay? So I have to refer to my notes often to stay on task. But there are a couple things I want to talk about. First of all, I want to talk about my referencing the James Charles situation in regards to the Colleen Ballinger allegations and some comments that I have received on my last few videos. I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about the fact that Shane Dawson and Rylan Adams have come out and announced that they are having twins through a surrogate, and the reception that is receiving. And then I also want to talk about the fact that Jaclyn Hill came out in a TikTok. She's really trying to build her TikTok, okay? She's been advertising her TikTok. No, not with an affiliate link, but she's been advertising on her Instagram, in her Instagram stories, saying, go follow me on TikTok. I'm really active on TikTok. So she posted this TikTok basically making fun of the whole situation of the contaminated fuzzy lipsticks from years ago that, you know, basically was her ultimate downfall. And so now she's making fun of it yet again. Jaclyn Hill is poking fun of this whole situation. And I just want to say before I get into this, okay, it's not her like making fun of herself or the situation that she's gone through, which I would understand in that situation. It's basically her making fun of anybody that alleged that there was something wrong with these lipsticks. So I want to go back and I want to revisit a few things. So I will tell you that in doing this video today, okay, which I know just seems like I'm sitting here, I'm just like having a little conversation with you, but I did do some research today, okay, because no, I'm not a journalist, as I have stated several times recently. I'm not a journalist, okay, but I am a video watcher, and so I did go back and I watched a few videos. I watched the James Charles holding myself accountable video because I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly what that video said, even though I've watched it countless times. I also went back and I watched Jaclyn's video about her lipsticks, and then I watched the video that she did directly after that where she came out and she's real vulnerable and she didn't want to cry because she didn't want to make herself a victim and things like that, right? So I wanted to make sure that I knew what she said and how she presented herself in those videos because it's very different than how she presents herself today, right? And the fact that she came out and said things like, you know, she's built her career on her relationship with her audience and she sees her audience as friends and she always wants to be honest with her audience and she never wants to lie to her audience and she just wants to sit down and have a conversation with her audience and be honest with them about everything that's going on, right? Which is interesting to me because she hasn't done that about many things, right? That apparently in this situation that's now funny to make jokes about, she had to come out and she had to, you know, be honest with her audience about it because that was the right thing to do at that time, right? To clear her name so that she could continue to have a career that was putting money in her pocket. Now, apparently, I guess, I don't know why she hasn't taken those videos down because her stance is completely different. In fact, she even references at one point in the video that she said something to the effect of that I was so confident to the point of cockiness, and that cockiness, she goes on and on about this cockiness. Well, I would say she's very cocky today. And if she knew 3 years ago that that wasn't a good look, I'm not really sure why she doesn't know today since she said in the video that she's learned so much and she's grateful for this experience, right? So I'm not sure why she isn't aware that cockiness of getting in a video and making fun of people that were talking about your contaminated lipsticks, which she came out herself and said they were contaminated. So I'm not really sure, and I know that because I just watched the videos. I'm not really sure why it's now a joke, but we're going to get to that last. First, I want to talk about this James Charles situation. Okay, so I received several comments on my videos the last couple days when I was talking about Colleen Ballinger, and I compared the situation to James Charles, all right? And I received several comments from people saying that they had issues with Colleen Ballinger and what Colleen Ballinger had done, but that they didn't have any issues with what James Charles had done. I'm very confused. I'm very confused about this statement, and I have to tell you, unless these are like fake profile pictures of people that left the comments, all the people that left the comments are grown adults, okay, based on their profile pictures. So these are not kids that are defending James Charles. These are grown adults, okay? I don't want to guess as to what their ages are, but they are grown adults, well past being grown adults, okay? So I'm very confused by the statement, and I went back, and you can go look at it, even though James Charles has taken it down, somebody else has re-uploaded it. His, taking accountability video, or whatever it's called, needing to take accountability, or whatever the video is called, I can't remember, but anyway, you can go in there and you can Google search, hold on here, I'll find it for you and tell you exactly what the video is called. Holding Myself Accountable is what the video is called. I went in and I watched the video because I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly what it said. When you watch the video, okay, he 100% in the video, even though he's taken the video down, right? He 100% takes accountability for his actions and said that he was having conversations with minors and that he should have looked and seen what the age of those people were, and that he continued to have conversations without doing the research to find out how old they were. He says it in his video. He takes responsibility for it. He apologizes to those people. He apologizes to his friends, his family, his fans for having to watch another video. He takes full responsibility, even though he's taken the video down since then. Apparently he doesn't hold to that same standard, right? It was enough for him at that time. So James Charles was having inappropriate conversations with people that told him that he was 18, which he said, with a quick search of their social media, I could have found how old they were, and then I should have stopped having conversations with them. He says that himself, right? But he didn't do that. He continued to have these inappropriate conversations with him. He says that in his video. I'm confused as to how you guys see that as a whole lot different than what Colleen Ballinger was doing, okay? And how you can say that you don't think that James Charles did anything wrong. James Charles, in his video, self-proclaimed that he was having inappropriate conversations with minors. He says it in his video, called Holding Myself Accountable. He's holding himself accountable for having inappropriate conversations with minors, okay? Which, in all honesty, even though he's taken the video down, is a lot more than Colleen Ballinger has come out and said, okay? So how you can come out and say that you don't think there's anything wrong with what James Charles did, but you have a huge issue with Colleen Ballinger, this to me is mesmerizing. And this to me is where I think people really do forget the facts. And people, we would talk about this, you know, this catchphrase word narrative, that people want to rewrite the narrative and they want to rewrite history and whatever. And for those of us that were around, that were covering this, and this is why it is important that there are drama commentary, gossip tea channels that talk about these issues, because we don't forget what happened, okay? We don't forget what went down and how it went down and things like that, right? So that is important that we have existed through the years. Because listen, we don't forget the details, okay? We just don't. Sometimes we might get it wrong, but we typically come on, I know I do, okay, and correct myself. But we remember how it all went down. I think over time what happens is that people forget it, or the next scandal occurs that is, you know, the next big person. And so people are like, oh, well, let's move on to the next thing. So here it is, 3-4 years down the road, and James Charles, people are like, yeah, there was nothing wrong with what he did. James Charles did a video called Holding Myself Accountable for having inappropriate conversations with minors, okay? And now people say, I don't think there's anything wrong with what James Charles did. But y'all take huge issues with what Colleen Ballinger did, okay, in 2023. So where's the same energy for James Charles in 2023? I'm confused, okay? How people are seeing the same things but can continue to support James Charles. And he took that video down and has really not done any work on himself. And not to mention that since that video has got himself caught in several other allegations and several other scandals, and has even come out on when he said in the video that he realizes that social media outlets are not dating platforms and he shouldn't be contacting people and things like that. when he's even come out on his own Instagram story and said, hey, I think my soulmate might be somewhere in my DMs, reach out to me and tell me that you're my soulmate. He said that, okay? So he's learned absolutely nothing, and yet people want to defend James Charles and say, well, he's a lot different than Colleen Ballinger. No, he's absolutely not. And he defended Colleen Ballinger back in the day, and Colleen Ballinger defended him. So birds of a feather flock together as far as I'm concerned. So that was the first thing that I wanted to say. The second thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that Shane Dawson and Rylan Adams came out in a video on Rylan's Vlogs channel, and they announced that they are having twins. Okay, now I watched this entire video because I was getting all these comments and DMs from people being like, did you know that Shane and Rylan are having twins? Did you know that Shane and Rylan... Bore a snake, okay? And so I was like, I'm going to watch this whole video and I'm going to see what they have. Basically, the whole video is Rylan getting really, really excited and Shane acting like he could care less. In all honesty, that's really what it's about. And that they fly from Colorado to Washington because they're going to meet with the OBGYN. You know, there's always, this is the one thing, is that there's always got to be this speculation of conspiracy. Like, okay, at one point they talk about how, like, there was a song playing, Just the Two of Us, and that was like an indicator that they were going to have twins. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if that were an indicator, wouldn't indicator have something to do with, like, 2 twins plus 2 dads is 4, so the song should be something to do with 4. Then they go in and they're in the OBGYN's office and they see a picture of a mother holding twins and they're like, oh, that was kismet that we were gonna, like, this whole twin thing, right? And I'm like thinking to myself, I wonder how many OBGYNs have pictures of a mother holding twins in their office. Like, I have a feeling that might be a pretty common occurrence for an OBGYN, that somewhere in their office, they might have something that has to do with twins, okay? So this whole thing that they always have to make everything out to be a conspiracy is so bizarre to me. Needless to say, they came out and announced this and all this kind of stuff, and, you know, several, like, online magazines picked it up and were talking about it, and I guess the first thing I want to say is congratulations to the people that were making jokes on these threads, because you guys really made me laugh, and it takes a lot to make me laugh, and just reading these threads was really making me laugh last night, so I want to say thank you. Now, I do think that there were some inappropriate, kind of cruel, mean statements that were made, but a lot of people, you know, were wondering if maybe the cat was the mom and things like that. Hey, listen, I didn't say it, I'm just repeating it, okay? But there were some funny things, but then there were a lot of people that were speculating, like, has CPS been contacted, and, you know, talking about Shane Dawson's past and things like that. A lot of people were actually speculating, you know, like, people have wondered if Shane Dawson was going to come out because he has had a lot to say about Colleen Ballinger in the past, if, you know, about with the Johnny McGovern interview and things like that, about where he said that Colleen Ballinger was the shadiest person in the world, people have been wondering if Shane Dawson might come out and say something, even though he has kind of a sordid past. Well, you know, Trisha Paytas does too, and she came out and spoke against Colleen Ballinger. So people were kind of wondering if Shane Dawson was going to come out and speak about this, and apparently he did, okay? And Shane Dawson's response to Colleen Ballinger's allegations was announcing that he's having twins, just like her. I guess, I don't know, I can't make sense of it, you know? But anyway, so I want to say that, and, you know, a lot of people are having concerns about the fact that Shane Dawson is going to have kids. Now, I have to tell you, I too do have some concerns about that, having watched the vlog, okay? And my concerns are that I don't know if Shane Dawson is aware that kids need haircuts and baths, okay? But I don't know if that's something that Shane Dawson has ever experienced, because by watching this video, it's been months since he's had a haircut. I don't know if they maybe, do y'all not have great clips in your area? I mean, that should maybe be your next conspiracy video, okay? That there's not great clips in the 10-mile radius. That should, because there's usually one on every street corner, you know? That should maybe be one of your next conspiracy theory videos, okay, is why you can't find a great clips in your area. The next thing is that I'm just, you know, listen, it just, to me, I don't know, somebody even said in the comment section, they said, you know, is Shane going to take a celebratory bath? And they said he's going to wait until the twins are born or something like that. So listen, it's not just me that's saying it, okay? But I am a little concerned because, you know, kids need baths and they need haircuts and things like that. I don't know if that's something that Shane Dawson is versed in, if he knows how to get haircuts and take baths. I'm just asking. I don't know, okay? But so that was, you know, that. And then other people were saying that they thought it was a little bit weird that Rylan Rylan Adams was shirtless in a video where they were announcing the twins and things like that. So there was that. Let me reference my notes to see if there was anything else I want to talk about that. No, I think that was it, about the Shane Dawson and the Rylan Adams having twins thing. So, woo! Okay, there's the next big exciting news. I will say this, though, you know, about people that are worried about Shane Dawson and these kids and things like that. You know, Shane and Rylan flew first class to Washington, and then Shane Dawson, when he sees that the hotel room has a mini bar, he can't wait to get inside this mini bar and pull out everything that they possibly have in this mini bar, which, if you've ever stayed in a hotel room, you know the price of a Coke in a mini bar is about $14.50. So apparently he doesn't really care about money. You know, I don't know. I thought he might be a little sad because Jeffree Star didn't want to do another pallet with him, but apparently he doesn't care about that. He must, even though he said he didn't make any money off that pallet, which is a lie straight from the pit of hell. I think we all know that, right? I mean, he don't make no videos, okay? I mean, Shane Dawson hardly makes any videos, so they must be just, like, funding themselves off of Rylan's vlogs, which doesn't even get that many views, or Shane's podcast, or something like that. So, you know, which is nothing in comparison to the 14 to 30 million views he was getting before. So apparently, I don't know, they're not too worried about money. I guess he didn't make no money from that pallet or something, he says, but because he's in there and he's digging in that mini bar like nobody's business, pulling out snacks and Cokes, and they act like they're just going to eat full dinners off of that mini bar. So if they can afford all that, okay, then they can definitely afford a nanny or 2 or 3 or 5. So don't worry about it, okay? They'll probably have nannies, and then they won't have to worry about all that. So anyway, but that's the Shane Dawson and Rylan thing. Shane and Rylan came out and said that they were having twins. So there's all that. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is Jaclyn Hill and this nonsensical TikTok that she put out, okay? So, Jaclyn Hill put out this TikTok. Now, I'm not going to include the TikTok because it has music in it, okay? Now, y'all know that YouTube don't like when you include music from TikToks or even TikToks in your videos, and they like to copyright strike those and things like that. But I am going to include a picture of the TikTok in my video so y'all can see it, okay? So, let me pull it up right here. And when you look at this picture here, I'm going to put it up here somewhere, okay? But when you look at this this TikTok, it's her putting on her lipsticks, okay? Her old, hairy, fuzzy, hairy fish sandwich lipsticks, okay? And she says in here, POV, that means point of view, for those of you that aren't millennials like me. And it says, you're still using Jaclyn Hill's contaminated lipsticks 4 years later, okay? And then underneath there, when you read the little disclaimer that she has, it says, I get a warm, fuzzy, in all caps, feeling every time, okay? So this is her, again, making fun of, and she's done this several times. You know, she was trimming her Chanel purse, and she said something about the fuzzies on the lipsticks. She's come out multiple times and made jokes about the fuzzies on the lipsticks, okay? Which, to be honest with you, I think is a really bad look, okay? I think to have had a scandal like that. Now, let me tell you the difference between this, okay? If Jaclyn Hill wanted to come out and she wanted to own her own scandal and she wanted to make fun of herself in a situation like this and what she went through, I think that is Jaclyn Hill's right, okay? But in every situation that she comes out in, she seems so pissed and so bitter that she makes a bitter ass TikTok or Instagram story, okay? Where she is basically making fun of the people that came out and had allegations about, or proof, that there were air bubbles and the lipsticks were melted and that there were shards of things in these lipsticks and there were fuzzies on these lipsticks and things like that, okay? She's making fun of those people, all right, by doing this. Because what she says is, you're still using Jaclyn Hill's contaminated lipsticks 4 years later. And she's like making fun of it. She's poking fun at the fact that they were contaminated, okay? It's not her owning her own, you know, failures and things like that, which she referred to it herself as her failure, right? It's none of that. It's her making fun of the people that came out and said something about it. It's her taking very little accountability, okay? Which is interesting to me. So I have to tell you, when I read the comments on this TikTok, what was surprising to me, okay, when you read these comments on here, is the amount of people that are super supportive of Jaclyn Hill. I mean, all of the comments underneath here are really, really supportive of Jaclyn Hill. Girl, I love my lipsticks. I have 5 and I cherish every single one of them. Jaclyn, you did not do this with this caption. Still mad I never got a chance to buy them. Serve it, girl. You're done. You're done. Joking, laughing emojis. I still wanted some. The shades were perfect. Please bring these back. The shades and formula were perfect. The formula was perfect when she even comes out and talks about the problem, okay? I mean, same, but mine had nothing wrong with them. Now, the reason I'm reading these to you is because I'm going to read you some of the comments from her video that she put out explaining the lipsticks. It's a much different, and this is where, again, this is why going forward with anything that comes out about any of these people, I think it's important to continue to hold them accountable until they take ownership and responsibility for their own actions, because what happens is, years down the road, people forget what happened, okay? And then they let these people off the hook, and then they're not held accountable anymore. And this is where Jaclyn Hill can come out and she can steal a brand from somebody like Jaclyn Nicholson, the Cozy brand, and not come out and address it. Where Jaclyn Hill can never address the fact that she had no real dealings with her own brand, allegedly. Legally, it looks like on paper, through the court documents, that Jaclyn never had any, was never CEO. Why she was even in the labs to begin with is beyond me, because she was never CEO, she was never, you know, major mixer or, you know, mixologist or ingredients person. She was never any of those things. She was basically just the face of Jaclyn Cosmetics, right? Which we now know through court documents. So when you watch these videos and she's talking about, I'm in the labs and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and whatever, I'm like, was she just fed this information because, or was she actually at the labs and they were just like, I don't know, like, I'm very confused. And she's never come out, even though she said she wants to be completely 100% honest with her audience, because her audience, and I'm going to prove this to you in just a second that she said this, that her audience is how she has built her career. So all these people are super supportive of Jaclyn Hill on this TikTok, which is interesting to me because where was the same energy 4 years ago when she came out with all this, right? So that is really interesting to me, okay? So I went in and I watched the videos, okay? I went back in and I watched the videos where she's addressing the lipsticks. And I also went in and I watched the video where she comes out and she talks about where she's been and things like that. That was the next video that she did after that. When she comes out and she talks about the lipsticks, okay? She's talking about the white cotton gloves are causing the fuzzies. And she says in the video, which is so beyond unacceptable. She says it. Okay? She says that it is so beyond unacceptable. In the same video, she thanks everyone for reaching out and sending pictures, and that she is so glad that she has learned from the situation. In the next video, she also thanks people for reaching out to her and sending pictures. She even publicly apologizes to the first person that ever posted a picture, I think it was on Twitter, where they had a failed lipstick, and she said, I really came hard for this girl, and I was just reactionary, and I'm really glad that she sent it to me because blah, blah, blah. She makes a point of thanking people for sending the pictures so that she could correct the situation with the lipsticks, and goes into depth about, you know, how she needs to take responsibility for this, and she goes on and on and on, and says several times in the video that it was totally unacceptable, okay? And then in the video where she talks about where I've been, she says she's built her entire career on her relationship with her audience, and that she can't just shut her mouth, which is what people are telling her, that she should just shut her mouth and not say anything and just be a boss-ass bitch. But that she can't shut her mouth because you guys are my friends. And she just wants to be completely honest with you guys the way that she would be with a friend, okay? Well, what's interesting to me about this is I don't know if that video didn't come across the way that she wanted it to, or what happened with that video, but here we are 4 years later. Where's the same energy? Where's the same energy when it comes to the Cozy brand with Jaclyn Nicholson? Where's the same energy when it comes to your server supposedly having 25 million people on it that broke down? Where's the same energy with the Marlene Estelle allegations that you said, if I ever told my truth? Girl, come out and tell your truth. Let us judge your truth, okay? Oh, you don't have any truth? Is that what it is? Is that why you keep on saying you're not going to tell your truth? Because in this video, you came out and you said you owe it to your audience to tell them the truth. So what's changed in 4 years? Is it that the other people's truth is different than your truth, and it doesn't align with your truth, so it's going to screw you in the pooch? Okay, I mean, is that what it is? Because that's what I believe it is, okay? Is that your truth doesn't align with other people's truth. And you know that, and so to come out and talk about it is going to screw you. For you to come out and actually address what your actual part is in Jaclyn Cosmetics is not going to align with the court documents and with what other people are going to say. And you know, as soon as you get on video, people are going to start doing their Google research. I mean, there's citizen detectives out there left and right, okay? And they're going to start doing their research and finding out that what you're saying in the video isn't true. And so you're going to screw the pooch all over again. Jaclyn Hill is the queen of screwing the pooch, okay? So that's why she don't come out and she don't say anything about these things, because she knows she can't. Because her truth is not the truth, okay? It's her truth, like you guys say, but it's not the truth, right? Okay. So then she goes in and she also says that my launch was a failure. She says that, okay? It failed. It sucked. She says my launch was a failure, it failed, and it sucked. She says that, okay? I did not have a quality control team that was big enough, and I totally messed up. So she gets in a video, all right? Now, the first video of the lipstick, she comes out and she addresses all the things with all these receipts and things like that and wants to blame it on the fact that UPS trucks are too hot and that you guys... Now, supposedly, the lipsticks are supposed to withstand... I don't know how she didn't do the math of this kind of stuff, but the lipsticks are supposed to withstand up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, but because of the heat inside the truck and because of being on your front porch... Now, girl, I don't know about you, but I live in Indianapolis, Indiana, okay? I don't know that in my entire life of living here, and I moved here from Chicago when I was 4, I don't know that in my entire life Indianapolis has ever reached 140 degrees. I'm just saying, okay? I don't even know that Arizona in the dead of summer ever gets to be 140 degrees, okay? So I don't know how you come out and say something like that and you want to blame it on the heat, right? So she says all this kind of stuff. And then there are other things that she says in there, which she, talks about people. First of all, she goes in this whole thing about these cotton gloves and how they have to change their cotton gloves, like every time they take a phone call and whatever. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm watching this, I mean, I've watched this video, countless times. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you've got people that are working on a factory line, okay, that are putting lipsticks in components or whatever they're doing, checking components, and they are cleaning out bins and things like that. I mean, okay, I've had friends of mine that have worked at factories, okay? I had a very good friend of mine that worked at, Seymour Tubing, and I've had lots of friends of mine that worked at, like, different tubing factories in Indianapolis and Walmart distribution and things like that. Now, I don't know if y'all have friends yours that work on the line at factories and things like that, but you typically get a lunch break and 2 breaks, okay? I don't know where you're taking phone calls, personal phone calls every 30 to 40 minutes that you need to change these gloves, and why nobody ever questioned that back in the day. These are not executives, okay, that are sitting at the Jaclyn Hill factory that are taking personal phone calls every 45 minutes, okay? These are factory line workers, okay? I've had many friends of mine that are factory line workers. They literally got 2 15-minute breaks to go to the bathroom, okay, so they didn't piss their pants, and they got a lunch break for a half an hour, period, end of story, okay? They weren't taking personal phone calls where they had to change out of all their gear every 30, 45 minutes, which is what she says, which also says to me that she is so out of touch with how a factory actually works that she would say that and that people bought that, right? In fact, I never questioned it at the time until I watched it today. I don't know why I never thought that that was bizarre. There's so much that she says in this lipstick video that doesn't even add up, okay? That makes it very, very clear that Jaclyn Hill has no clue as to what actually occurs in a factory, period, end of story, okay? And yet now, 4 years later, it's funny to her. It's funny to come out. Now, you made this video, okay, the lipsticks, where you are so embarrassed, and you are talking about confidence versus cockiness, and you talk about it in your next video about why you had to leave social media for such a long period of time because you were embarrassed, and you had to refigure out your whole company, and you fired all these people, which I don't know how she had the power to fire people when she wasn't the CEO. She can explain that, I guess, in a further video because she wants to be honest with her audience. But she comes out with all this kind of stuff and says she fired all these people and she hired a bunch of new people and she's never going to use these same labs again. And there haven't really been a lot of mistakes with Jaclyn Hill's releases since then. There really haven't been. People love her products and things like that. I grant her that, right? Okay, but you made this video appealing to your audience, taking complete responsibility for the lipsticks, okay? Sitting there, and she says something about the reason why she's in this makeup in the next one is because she didn't want people to think that she was victimizing herself. But in the previous video that she's talking about the lipsticks, she ain't wearing no makeup, her hair's tucked behind her ears, she's got a sweatshirt on. It's a Laura Lee apology video is what it is, And so she comes out in the second video and she's really appealing to her audience, talking about how she's trying not to cry and she's going to edit out the parts where she's crying because she doesn't want to come across as a victim, and she wants to take responsibility, and she wants people to know that this is really hard for her and all this kind of stuff, right? And she thanks to people that brought her attention to it. So you made 2 videos at that time taking full responsibility for the lipsticks. You owned it and said it was all your fault, okay? Thanking the people that were bringing it to your attention that there was problems with these lipsticks, which you actually owned in the first video and explained why there were problems with these lipsticks. Okay? And now 3 to 4 years later, you're making jokes about it, okay? You think it's funny to poke fun at the people that took issue with your lipsticks. Now, if I had ever been a consumer of Jaclyn Hill's cosmetics and had ever bought those lipsticks or anything further down the line, it stopped. If I had ever been a consumer of Jaclyn Hill's lipsticks or any of her makeup scents, I would never, okay, with her coming out, and this is the way that she talks to her audience and makes fun of their concerns when she says in multiple times in her video, contact customer service, contact this person, reach out to us, we'll give you a full refund, which she did. If I knew that down the road that this is how the lack of seriousness that she takes, first of all, let me just say, nobody is bringing up these lipsticks, okay? I joke about them from time to time in videos and say, oh, I have a hair on my hat and things like that. Nobody is bringing up these lipsticks right now, okay? Nobody is talking about these lipsticks. Nobody is talking about all these. There was no reason for her to come out and make this TikTok. At the time that she did this, she was cutting off the edge of her Chanel purse and said it was the fuzzies on the lipstick. Nobody was talking about the lipsticks. Nobody was bringing it up. Nobody was making full, dedicated videos to it. There was no reason for her to talk about it in that video, right? This is Jaclyn Hill's resentments towards people bringing to her issues with her own brand and company that she has 4 years later unable to let go of. When she got in 2 videos, which for me now, looking back on, were completely 100% performative, okay? That the only reason she got in those videos were to save her ass because she knew if she didn't, she would have no career going forward, that she was forced to get in a video and take responsibility for what had happened because now she thinks it's a big joke that she can make fun of. Well, it wasn't a big joke to you then, girl. You talk about taking time off of social media and you couldn't read anything online and you didn't watch any gossip videos and blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff, okay? Which is contradictory to what Jordan said in his podcast interview about watching gossip videos. So she must have lied in that video. Imagine that. Jaclyn Hill lying. She doesn't lie, though. She's not a liar, right? Okay. So you had to completely disable all of your social media, leave it, because you couldn't handle what was being said to you. But then you thank everybody that brought it to your attention. You're thankful for the situation because you grew so much and learned so much about the business. But then 4 years later, it's a bitter joke that you can't let go of, and you are still pissed at the people that brought it up. Nah, girl, I ain't buying it, okay? You ain't learned lesson 1 from this situation. And to this day, you still cannot come out and address your fans and your audience who you call your friends and you need to be honest with about your own brand, the bankruptcy, okay? And where you stood on this, and there's documentation that you were never the CEO, the co-founder, or anything of this brand, other than the brand paid you to be the face of the cosmetic brand. There's nothing there that, in the court documents that I've seen, come out and prove us otherwise. I'll get on video and admit all day long that I was wrong. If you can prove us otherwise, come out and tell your truth. You know, Marlene Estelle comes out with all these allegations and you say, well, someday, that's why I don't tell my truth. Come out and tell your truth, girl. Let us be the judge of that. You know, and if you can prove Marlene Estelle wrong, I'll own it all day long and I'll get in a video and say, I was wrong. And I owe Jaclyn Hill an apology. But girl, you don't do that, right? You don't do that. Now let me tell you about how much the times have changed. I went and I watched this video, My Lipsticks from 4 years ago. Now, I read you the comments on her most recent TikTok. Almost every single one of them are glowing. Let's go underneath here and read the comments from My Lipsticks 4 years ago. When you see a thumbnail of a beauty guru without makeup on trending, you know it's drama. First one. Okay? Next comment. Jaclyn, I've been working on this for 5 years. Also, Jaclyn, we moved too quickly. Because she says that in her video. When I feel bad about myself, I watch this video and I feel better. Okay? Apology video starter pack. Bare face, sad face, normal cheap clothes. Somebody else put, my favorite shade, I'm just reading these straight down, you guys. My favorite shades are crusty mold, small holes, mysterious small hairs, and unmixed pigments. Love them so much. And remember, you guys shave the tip of the lipstick every hour. Good love. 1.2 likes on that, okay? Guys, stop attacking her. The hair is FDA approved. Did I buy the lipstick? No. Do I need an explanation? Yes, okay? My favorite part was when she blamed lipstick melting on climate change. Jaclyn, I'm not going to make it about myself and tell you how I feel. Also, Jaclyn, I feel so embarrassed. Okay, I mean, literally, you guys, it just goes on and on and on. And every comment underneath here is just completely criticizing Jaclyn Hill and her explanation in the videos. 4 years later, Jaclyn's response to that is, let's poke fun at the people that took issues with my lipsticks. Very serious issues. I mean, people put these lipsticks under microscopes and had issues with it. And there were, I mean, people had there were people had physical responses to these lipsticks and things like that. And now she makes a joke about it, okay? And when she came out in these 2 videos, so were your 2 videos where your video talking about the lipsticks and then your follow-up video talking about where you've been, were those performative of you just appealing to your audience of, I'm such a down-to-earth real gal that I need to own my mistakes and I am so embarrassed and it was a failure and my launch was a failure and I never wanted it to be that? Was that all performative? Was that all just complete crap? Okay, was that all just for your audience to continue to save your career? Or do you believe what you believe now and that it was all a joke? Because I believe that Jaclyn Hill has never felt authentic about this and she has always been pissed that people brought this to her doorstep, okay? And the only reason that she ever did anything and took any responsibility for it and paid people back for the lipsticks, which was great that she did that, okay? But the only reason that she did that probably was to save her own career, all right? Which we now know, allegedly, that she doesn't even own any part of Jaclyn Cosmetics, maybe some stock in it, and that she was paid to be the face of it. If that's the case, then it wasn't even ultimately her decision to pay the people back for the lipsticks. It was somebody else's higher up the chain that was their decision. That wasn't even Jaclyn Hill's decision, right? So it's just baffling to me, okay, that she thinks it's so funny to make a joke about this. Well, maybe if I had a company that I had said was a family-owned business and I had lied to everybody and it was never my business to begin with and I was forced to get on video and take responsibility for a business that was never mine to begin with, except for that I was the face of the business and I had to take full responsibility and be blamed for this, you know, as Jordan said in his podcast interview, that people don't really know the truth behind the situations. Maybe that's the truth. Maybe Jaclyn, as the face of Jaclyn Cosmetics, was forced to get on video and take responsibility for this because she had said that this was her brand, when in actuality, per the court documents, it was never her brand, and she was forced to take the fall for it. I'd be pissed about it too and making a joke. But then that's on Jaclyn Hill to come out and to explain to us, you know? But she's so bitter about it, she can't do that. So she continues to stand behind these sayings and make all these jokes about it, right? That's who Jaclyn Hill really is. Jaclyn Hill is the girl that gets canceled and wears a canceled dress to a Halloween party. And when people say she's grown since then, Jaclyn Hill is the person that gets questioned about her lipsticks, takes responsibility for them, okay? And then comes out and makes a funny TikTok about it 4 years later, making fun of the people that had accusations about these lipsticks. That's who Jaclyn Hill is. So when y'all want to say to me that Jaclyn Hill is a changed person, she's a good person, she's a kind person, she's a caring person, I ain't buying it, okay? Who Jaclyn Hill is a bitter person full of resentments that can't let this stuff go, okay? That's who Jaclyn Hill is, and she's proved it herself. So, anyway, let me know what you think about all of that in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.